Was that your dog?
Yeah,
Was
he's
was
in
that
here
your-
because it did sound like
I
my
was like,
stomach.
It sounded like your stomach. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Guy at the Movies podcast. This is episode 117, and we have a lot of fun to talk about tonight. A new Black Panther trailer, Bros, Hocus Pocus 2, Smile, a lot of Marvel updates, and a whole lot more right after this.
Everyone is part of the family at this point.
It didn't do my fan fiction idea that I had. So this movie was garbage.
What is this? You are a monster beyond all belief.
Put them all in the thing and let them do the thing. You know what I mean?
How? You're lucky to have me back.
You're never gonna get 60 million people because you're not a Super Bowl. Shut up!
So chaotic.
Welcome to the Guy at the Movies podcast. I am Joe. He is Sean. Episode 117. Sean, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I have the day off tomorrow. I'm just like ready to just, lay out and enjoy myself. Scooter and I are going to have a guy's day.
That is magic. We all love a good day off. You know what else we love is some good old breaking news. Breaking today on Deadline, the much loved film from Rob Schneider called The Animal is about to get a sequel.
No. No.
And you know who might be doing it? Tubi.
Well, that actually, you know what? My surprise meter has gone way down. That makes complete sense.
Schneider is back and will reprise his starring role as Marvin Mange, a police evidence clerk whose behavior changed after he got animal parts transplanted from a critical injury. This was a movie. This was actually a movie.
They really did throw things against the wall. If we ever think a movie now sucks, just remember that this kind of movie came out.
This is the tagline for this, according to Deadline. Marvin, now an old dog, needs to learn new tricks as he hunts down a new Uber animal with powers far beyond his own. What the hell?
I'm looking at it now to figure out what else has been on Tubi. And I'm wondering if that new Johnny Depp Amber Heard movie that they decided to make, that was also on Tubi.
That is
correct.
So
there's the level that we're at with this one. So
well, they didn't have Titanic 666.
There's the level that we're at right now. This is wow. No, that makes sense now that it was on Tubi and everything, because this guy has not been able to get a job, and this is, of course, from the Fox Corporation, so we know where a lot of this stuff is sort of leaning, as he's quite a conservative comic these days. But
is he really?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
He's been for a bit, but it's like sort of strangely. I don't know where his views lie of recent, because I know sometimes they fluctuate due to terrible press, but
yeah. Interesting. All right, let's dive into it because we have a lot to talk about, whereas last week we had nothing to talk about. So tonight we're going to start with two trailers, the first of which is the official trailer for the upcoming Black Panther Wakanda Forever, a movie that I am extremely excited about. And I think I texted you like, holy fuck, when the trailer dropped, because I'm thrilled about it. I can't wait to see this movie. We get a longer look, or a better look, I should say, at Namor, the Submariner. In this, we see that he has like the wings on his ankles and a lot of stuff that's comic accurate. So a little bit of that mutant stuff coming in. He's going to be a mutant in this, which I don't know if that's specifically how he was described in the comics, but he's considered a mutant. So they're starting to introduce the fact that mutants exist. But just another good trailer. We get a good look at the Black Panther suit at the end. It is a female leading suit because of the breastises being shown. So I think it all leads towards Shuri being the Shuri.
Sure. They kind of blend it.
Yeah. Now, whatever. But Letitia Wright, it leans towards her being the Black Panther in my eyes, also because she's in a lot of Lego sets. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously going to be her, especially the poster has sort of her leading. So that makes it, and like kind of her in front of a mask, I believe, in some nature. I still am holding out hope for Lupita being the one that's kicking ass, but it seems like it's at this point, it's definitely going to be Letitia. This trailer was awesome. I will say I still like the other one better because the other one was more artistic and movie-ish. This one is more for the comic book fans, which is exactly what you have to do. Now, For a
Right.
trailer that is more for the comic book fans, still an amazing trailer. Still a really great one. The glee of Ironheart when she's in that suit is like it's a brief second, but I truly loved how that went and like how that was delivered. So I'm looking forward to this without a doubt.
Yeah.
Like this is going to be like still this great one. I think at this point it's become the event of Thanksgiving. I think it's going to do great at the box office again. Yeah, I mean it's like also it's so funny because we joked about it before. We were all just ready for this one to die. We were like it was just not going to be good, and like in this situation, it's now going to seem like it's going to be the huge event that it should be.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks awesome. I'm just extremely excited about what's to come. I'm also holding out hope that they're doing well. I guess not holding out hope because I'm fine if Shuri is the Black Panther. But I wonder if there's more to the story there. Like if someone else is going to end up with it. If that rumor a while ago where like she hands it off to someone after taking down the threat, if that is something that will come to fruition. The other big thing that came out in the past week was in conversations with Tenoch. I hope I don't mispronounce his name. Tenoch Huerta is the actor playing Namor.
Okay.
He basically said that he's an anti-hero. He's like similar to Black Adam in that way, where like he's a bad guy, but he's an anti-hero. And I believe it was part of his quote, "I'm not the villain of this movie." And I was like, ooh, okay. So what does that mean? Like, is there stuff that we haven't seen? Are we definitely leaning towards what has been rumored for the longest time with Doctor Doom being thrown into the mix or someone else pulling the strings behind the scenes? But I'm just excited for this because even if what we get is exactly what we've been shown, I'm thrilled.
It's going to be a really tough call because on one hand, I think they give a lot of backstory. So for Namor, so I really do think that this is going to be someone who's not a full blown villain. I always imagined him as going to be the Michael B. Jordan of this, where yes, Michael B. Jordan did a lot of bad shit. So yes, he was a villain, but there were points where you're just like, he has a point.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's what he means. I always imagined the Black Panther movies very much on their own trajectory. They do not bring in, or there's only been one. It did not bring in other Marvel situations, other Marvel, and that's what I think was appreciated most about it. So, will they do that for this? Will they have to? Because I know sometimes they're shackled to doing something like that. So, it'll be interesting to see what it is. Yeah, but I can absolutely see him not being the full blown villain.
Remember, the first had an after credit scene with Bucky, which led into Civil War.
Oh, wait. Civil War was before Black Panther, though.
Civil War was after Black Panther. Black Panther, because Black Panther was part of Civil War.
Yeah, but that's where he was introduced. And then the Black Panther movie was standalone.
Really?
Yeah. But you are right, though. There is an after credit scene with Bucky in Black Panther where he is chilling. Like he's still getting healed. Like in the after credit scene of Civil War, Bucky goes to Wakanda, and that's where he is going to get all like good and stuff. And then in the last one, he finally is all good, and that's where he is.
It's all good.
Bucky, the master of the post-credit scene.
Yeah, right. I completely had them backwards. Thank you for correcting me on that.
No, it gets a little bit weird. Yeah,
it gets so confusing because there's been 27 million fucking movies.
Oh God, it's so annoying.
Let's switch gears to Emancipation. This is the Apple TV Plus drama by Antoine Fuqua that is starring Will Smith. This is based on a true story, a story about slavery. That was much anticipated, but I think once the incident happened with Will Smith at the Oscars, things kind of went, the opposite direction there. But this is coming out in December. Apple has opted to release it before the end of the year. There have been rumors that Apple was going to drop one of their big movies before the end of the year to try to like get some excitement going there. And Emancipation seems to have won that internal battle. What did you think about this?
So I should say up front, I did not watch the trailer for this, just out of time alone. But I will comment on it being released right now. I think it's a move where it's really a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because I mean, what are they going to do? 1 year is going to and all forgiveness will happen. We go 10 years and all forgiveness will happen. I mean, they eventually do have to release this movie that so many people have worked hard on besides Will Smith. But then on the other hand, they're releasing it right now. And unfortunately, even if like Will Smith gets like blanked and not nominated, which is pretty like standard and most likely obvious, like I don't think just because of his association, the rest of the movie is going to get passed over quite a bit. So and then therefore their work was for naught. And their work is not for naught because people don't just work for Oscars. They like them, but they're not just working for Oscars. So they're getting this value out there. I mean, hey, who knows? Are people like going to boycott the movie? I don't think so. I'll check it out. I'll watch it. I mean, I watch everything, so sure. I'm not going to like avoid it. But I think it's going to leave a bad taste in some people's mouths. I mean, yes, sure, this guy did not commit, well, he did sort of commit a crime of assault, but like, he did not commit a truly heinous crime, but he did sort of do something in the public eye that's just going to just mess with his public image for a really, really long time. Yeah. And it's going to be really tough to like be able to see this movie and see any sort of genuine nature to it. Which is a shame. I'll watch this and I'll judge it based on the movie. I'll judge him based on his performance, but there's gonna be a subconscious in there that rears an ugly head without a doubt.
Yeah, I think watching the trailer, I kind of felt similar where it was all through the lens of Will Smith and his current public predicament. That I struggled with the trailer a little bit, but it looked beautiful. It looked like it was really well done. Will Smith does an accent in it that I don't know. I just struggle with accents and when they're done by actors who have done a million movies without them. So I don't know. I really do not know how I feel about this one yet. I want to watch it and give it the proper venue in terms of my gaze and my review. But we'll see what happens. I think it's interesting that they are dropping it in December when there's a bunch of other movies that they have that are also really highly anticipated that probably could have made the cut there. But if this one is done and ready to roll, I think wasn't it supposed to come out like earlier this year or something, but they had delayed it because of the Will Smith stuff?
I mean, it was sometime this year. Then they like kind of shelved it with the promise of a later date, but indefinitely. Like they didn't have any real plan. And then they said, you know what, we'll just bring it out this year, which I guess they pretty much thought it's like, you know what, Will Smith is going to be looking pretty rough for the next few years. So we can't hold this for the next few years. So let's just, put it out now and see what it does.
He's going to be looking rough for the next couple of years.
I mean, he's going to be looking exactly like how he looked in King Richard. Yeah.
All right, let's dive into what we've been watching. And this week we're doing something a little bit different and just focusing on what we have both been watching because there's some big releases that we needed to talk about. And we both have seen them all. So first and foremost, let's start off with Bros. I had talked a little bit about this in the past and my enjoyment with it, and interested to get your opinion.
It's an extremely funny romantic comedy. Just straight down the middle. That's what you got to look at with this one. It was hysterical. And that's one of I had a lot of concerns about this movie, but the main one was the Apatow humor of just like pop culture reference that doesn't even like mean anything. Like honestly, the line that everyone has seen in the trailer, it's like they injected steroids into Dumbledore. I'm like, I don't know, man. You're just like naming an old guy, a famous old figure, and like putting steroids in it. That stuff where I was just like, oh, is it going to be just like 2 hours of that? And it wasn't. It was genuinely funny situational comedy. It was genuinely funny one-liners. I don't want to do the Chris Farley thing where I'm just like, remember when, mainly because I don't want to give away jokes, but also that's just like, that we'd be here all day. But there was just some genuinely funny stuff. I thought that Billy Eichner was like surprisingly great. He's not doing his Billy on the street, but he is doing his Billy on the street if like Billy had some melatonin. Like it was a little bit more mellow, it was a little bit more calm, but it was still a very like funny like character, and I enjoyed that. And the chemistry between him and Luke McFarlane, who was surprisingly fantastic, which people are saying he's like like good to okay. I thought he was quite good because he's playing like sort of a meathead jock dude or bro. But he gives himself a lot of dimension. He gives himself a lot of feeling in it. And I was kind of blown away by those two worked out so well together. I just can't emphasize enough how good the writing is in this. I mean, I want Billy Eichner to write a lot more movies, regardless of the genre, regardless of anything. I think this was just like extremely cleverly written. I think it was like poignantly written at times. I think it's something that was, because this is like, part of the problem is people were like, is this going to be political or something like that? I think it was to a degree, but it was to a degree where it personally affected the characters enough where you weren't being preached to. You were just seeing a story happen and you were learning messages through that. I really did like this movie a lot. I was very impressed with it. It's one of my favorite of the year, honestly. Because I really like the one thing is like I've always been told like, what's your least favorite movie genre? And I say rom-com, but it's because there's just like when it misses hard. But when it hits perfectly. I mean, those are some of the best movies when they hit. They said their basis was When Harry Met Sally for a lot of it, and you really do feel that throughout. And I don't know. I was just very happy to see this whole thing.
Yeah, glad you enjoyed it. I mean, I shared this last week. I really enjoyed it for all the same reasons you're saying. Thought it was just a really good story at the end of the day and quite funny. I keep thinking about some of the jokes and retelling them to people. So that was highly entertaining. What's interesting is it didn't do well at the box office at all. And, we talked a little bit offline. Rom-coms haven't done well for quite a while. I personally think that the marketing for it was a little flawed. I think there was too much of it. And I think that it was so in your face and we're here, deal with it, watch it. That could turn people off. And even like the people in the middle that you probably were hoping to grab out of interest, they probably still were turned off from it. So I just feel like they went a little overboard. Bros was everywhere. It was absolutely everywhere. And that, I think that may have contributed. Billy Eichner's having a little bit of a meltdown after it, in terms of saying the straights didn't show up, and I just don't know that he's handling it the best with his feedback. But we'll see.
It is so complicated because all of those factors are correct. Let's see how Ticket to Paradise does. And that's a straight rom-com with George Clooney and Julia Roberts. I think, the fact that there's no stars in it is a tough thing because, Billy Eichner's not a star. We know Billy Eichner. We love Billy Eichner. The internet knows Billy Eichner, but my parents don't know Billy Eichner. Therefore, not a star. Didn't pass the parent test. So I think that might be one of the problems there. Interesting, because straights didn't show up. I think, from a certain degree, that is sort of true. I think and it's going to be important to look at the second week. And,
absolutely.
Because I think there were a lot of people that were a little bit worried to see this because they're and these are stupid reasons, but they're is it too gay? Is it too political? Is it too this? Is it too that? Honestly, I didn't laugh that much when I saw the trailers. And so I went to this movie kind of worried about it. And then, I laughed my ass off. That's good. That means they saved the jokes for the movie, which is lovely. I'm very happy with that. But also it's just I kind of wish you, showed off a little bit of this wealth because it's genuinely a funny movie. I heard an interview before I went to see it. Guy Branum, one of the producers, and he plays Henry. He mentioned that part of the problem might be the gay population might have an issue with this movie. And there was some issues with that of it's two white cis gay men, which on one hand, it's good Lord, are we ever going to please everybody? No. But on the other hand, there is kind of a point there. I mean, I don't know, what do you have then? 18 people in a romance. It's it's a little bit tricky, but it's a solid point. But it's just still something that was just so good and captured a culture so well. I don't know. I just like this movie so much. I'm so bummed out that it's getting this sort of,
It's so frustrating because you can't please the gays, and no matter what movie comes out about the LGBTQ community and whatever direction it takes, it's either too cheesy or too on the nose or too white or too it's a lesbian story or there's always complaints about it, and it's actually quite fucking tiring because it's the same group and the same people, myself being part of that are always we want representation, and then we get representation and it's but not like that. and it's very, very frustrating. I mean, like, people with Fire Island, people are like, that's not how Fire Island is for everyone. Like, fuck, okay, we get it. It's not supposed to be like the main, like, this represents everyone that goes to Fire Island. Like, that's not the point. And people just get so, it's like we want representation, but when representation doesn't look exactly how we want it, then we don't want it. And that's just not the way to go. And I'll message the gay group chat tonight and let everyone know.
You know all of them, right? Yeah,
I know all of them. Yes.
You guys know all know each other. Yeah.
What people don't realize is that when you come out, you automatically have like a Sims icon above your head, so you can see, like, we can see it, but you all cannot.
Oh boy!
And if you can, we're gonna have some quiz.
I know. I was like, wait, yeah, I was wondering what that was over your head. Now I'm worried. Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah, so we'll see what it does. I think the second weekend will be interesting because, regardless of the content of the movie, it's one that has a very, very high Rotten Tomato score as well as cinema score of an A, and the word of mouth should be really good. Is really good on this movie.
It is really good. I told so many people to go see it, and they said, oh yeah, they're gonna go now. They were thinking of going anyway. And let's just forget the fact, this is where I scream from my soapbox about this, but it's just like movies don't really succeed anymore. Not rom-coms, not comedies. Movies don't succeed anymore. That's just what this is. It's just I see 4.5 million in the opening weekend. I'm like, yeah, that's bad. But also, I mean, that's kind of what is expected these days. Like, this wasn't gonna crack 10 or 20 million. It's a romantic comedy. Here's me on my rocking chair being like, only Marvel movies and Top Gun Maverick will do it, but that's true. I mean, and horror movies, because the horror movies just always do well in theaters. That's just gonna be the way of the world.
Speaking of horror movies, we had a horror movie out this week that you saw last night, and I truly do not know your reaction to it yet.
Oh yeah, I didn't post my review yet.
Smile hit theaters. I'll start off with just saying that I think it's great that horror is having such a great year and people are loving this movie. I found it kind of boring and monotonous, and I felt like a lot of scenes were just drawn out. And I thought that there wasn't enough depth in this story. It was sort of like, here's what's going on, accept it and move on. Whereas I think they could have had a little bit more fun in kind of investigating what that was all about. There were some great jump scares in it. There's one, she's sitting at a computer, and I'm sure, Sean, you shit yourself when that happened.
Yeah, this was a huge one.
Yeah. But other than that, I didn't really feel much for it. Sean, what did you think of Smile?
I liked it a little bit better than you, but I found it, more than boring. I was scared the whole time, so it worked. It did its job on me. Was it derivative of other horror movies? Absolutely. To a insane degree. I will also say that I think that the ending betrayed what this entire movie was trying to be, what the messaging of this entire movie was. That ending was something that really, really pissed me off. I know what they were doing. They were going for the traditional horror ending, which I was like, okay, I see what you're doing there. You're doing, Thriller. Michael Jackson looks back and has the eyes. Okay, cool, fun. But I think that with this, this whole movie was an allegory for trauma and a symbolic of depression and mental health and suicidal ideation. And then you just completely fuck all of that with the ending. And I really that's where I was sitting back and I was like, hey, this movie's actually kind of good. It's saying something good. And then the ending hit. And I'm like, okay, this kind of betrayed everything. I was so upset. I will say, I'm gonna mispronounce her name, but Sosha Bacon should be a star at this point. She's been in a lot of other stuff, and she's been good in it too. She's got just a great look, a great recognizable face. She's a Kira Sedgwick and Kevin Bacon's kid, and she's got okay. I mean, she's got the Kira Sedgwick mole. I didn't know that was a thing that was passed on, but I love it. She has this great look. I think she was spectacular in this.
She looks like Hilary Swank.
She does. She has just this very familiar face. I'm always drawn to her when I see her. She was in this show that's terribly titled because I can barely remember the title, but something like The Way We See It, where she plays someone taking care of people on the spectrum, and she does a great job in that. I'm just so disappointed by this one because I really was looking forward to it, and there's just aspects of it that are fun. The jump scares are great. I will say, and this is another annoying thing that everybody says, so it's annoying, but I usually don't care when a trailer gives stuff away, but there are some iconic horror moments that could have been, if they were just shown in the film, would have been the most epic things. Of course, I'm talking about her sister coming up to the car and turning her head over like that. If that was the first time I saw that, the way that scene was set up and everything like that, and I can't judge the film for that because I know that like some of them don't have control over where their trailers go. But like if I saw that for the first time in the movie, that would have like just would have lasted forever for me. But instead, it was a really boring moment because I saw it like 18 times before that. But man, yeah, I'm hoping. I don't know.
Listen, it's doing well. Horror is having quite the year, as I said. The Frasier sequel series is a go at Paramount Plus right now. You should know that. So there's a little news for you.
Wait.
That's true.
Kelsey Grammer's Frasier.
Kelsey Grammer's Frasier. So there's that.
Boy, I love Frasier. What are they doing? Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. I'm so upset.
But yeah, I'm with you. It's just there's something about it, and I think that while they did the trauma well, for the most part, I'm not sure that it all hit the way they could have. Yeah. Like, I mean, you see that it's an allegory, but they don't do anything with it by the end, and that's what bothered me.
That's what I was doing when I was thinking throughout. I was like, this is probably not like I'm saying like, oh, they're saying good stuff about mental health, kind of, but it's not great stuff about mental health. And then all of a sudden, the ending hit, and I was like, oh no, now it's bad. Now it's like genuinely bad. Like now this is actually like a horrible mess. This was written by a dog. I'm out.
This is written by a dog. Let's talk about the last one we have on our list tonight, and that is Hocus Pocus 2. I got to be honest with you. I give this a 5. I think I would give it a 4. I told you I was struggling with this one. I think I would give it a 4 because I really did enjoy it. I had a great time. It's better than most sequels 29 years later. Obviously, then notwithstanding, what's it called? Maverick and stuff like that. But I just had a really fun time with this. I thought Bette Midler was having the time of her life. She was just like so happy to be back, and all three of them really were great. The story isn't anything great to write home about. It's a very simplistic story, but I thought there were some good moments. I enjoyed the addition of Tony Hale and Sam
Richardson.
Richardson. I almost said Washington. Sam Washington. But I also love the woman in the old colonial area at the beginning that walks out of her house and then goes, oh, and turns around and goes, nope, and goes back in. That was an iconic gift that I think will be around for a long time. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. They clearly leave it open for a third. It is the best debut for a movie on Disney Plus, which, I mean, it's going up against the remakes of I don't even remember, Cheaper by the Dozen and other shit. Yeah, well, when you're talking about Disney Plus originals. But yeah, fun movie. What did you think of it?
I mean, I gave it a B, and I flirted with a C on this one because it's definitely not great, but it was funny enough. There was some classic comedy moments. The witches coming into the house and saying spread out, and Sarah Jessica Parker actually spread. That's classic comedy. That is like perfect classic. That is just extremely well done. I think that this is a movie that should have just stuck with the Sanderson sisters the whole way. I do not care about the teenage girl plot. I truly could care less. Oh, look, she's becoming a witch. I don't care. It was just some of the stuff that I was just like, when I was like, I really like I feel bad because they weren't terribly great at acting, which is fine when you're a child actor, you're working with stuff and it's like not that great. I get it. I think that like them interacting with the modern world, like they did in 1993, they updated that to be better and to be fun. Yes, and I am talking about them losing in the drag show of themselves. I thought that was a level of brilliance that truly I loved. I thought that was just something great. I think that so in general, it's funny. It was very funny. I think that, you have Kathy Najimy, Bette Midler, and Sarah Jessica Parker stealing the show, coming right back in. I didn't love Tony Hale and Sam Richardson. I don't think they were given a lot. But yeah, it was kind of tough for them. I was bummed. I was so excited when they were in it. But in general, I did give this a B. More, of course, I was grading it on a curve because, of course, I just wanted this to be as good as it was. I had to have graded it on a curve. I will admit my own bias at times. But in the end, I did like it. I don't think I'll ever watch it again. I think I'll always just watch the original. And you know what? That's also a nostalgia thing that's very powerful. Is like the power of nostalgia got me to get this to have a decent grade. And also, on the other end, Like,
I do want to watch it again. There's some parts
Yeah.
that I really enjoyed. Like Bette Midler continues to beat the shit out of Sarah Jessica Parker in this movie. Like she slaps her so hard in the Walgreens.
That probably was a real slap knowing the two of them and how they got along. But the younger Sanderson, the younger Bette Midler with the gigantic teeth was so over dramatic and so goddamn funny.
It was wonderful. It was
like,
wonderful.
watching that, I was just giggling the whole time. I was like, okay, so this movie is just having fun. Weird Hannah Waddingham has a 2-second cameo.
She was good though.
She was good. I was just like, she'll probably come back later. It's like, oh no, that's literally it for her.
Did you notice what dress she was wearing or what like garb she was wearing?
Is it something?
It's the same garb that what's her name wears in the first one, the young girl.
Oh,
Danny.
Oh,
Yeah, so I really wonder, like when I was watching this, I was like, I wonder how much they're setting this up for potential third or a series or something else. Like Disney wants to milk this. They're looking back at all their IP just like every company is, and saying, what do we already own that we can do more with? And I'm wondering if they're gonna play with this a little bit more. I don't want them to, but I can see.
Yeah, no, I can see them doing, unfortunately, like a Fuller House where it's the teenage girl's story in high school with her becoming the witch and kind of all of them being able to do magic. And then occasionally the three Sanderson sisters will show up and come back and move forward, just like in Fuller House. Like they came in, they left and stuff. But interesting comparison I'm doing, but
it's a prequel to The Craft.
Oh my God.
Make that connection. All right, let's dive into what we want to talk about tonight with the news, because there's been a shit ton of news, and this one really took you aback. When I Bill Skarsgård and Lily Rose Depp have signed on to Robert Eggers' next film, which is Nosferatu, and this is of course the original Dracula. So it's happening, which is great. Focus Features is all behind them. It's a gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman, Lily Rose Depp, in 19th century Germany, and the ancient Transylvanian vampire, played by Bill Skarsgård, who stalks her, bringing untold horror with him. That's per Deadline. This is an Eggers project that he has been wanting to get off the ground forever. And listen, when he's passionate about something, I'm like, go for it. Give him the money. Let's see what happens. This is no different.
I mean, this is like the ultimate period piece. And, it's just so funny because cinephiles and film snobs, you're usually pissed at remakes. You're not pissed about this one.
Yeah,
This one, you can't be pissed about this one. You really can't. And it's going to be great because it's going to be a complete reimagining. I mean, the original Nosferatu is from F.W. Murnau, and it's like literally like the celluloid is yellow and stuff. Like you can barely tell what's going on. Then Werner Herzog did a Nosferatu version. I have never seen that, but it's on my watch list. This just seems like he's going to just go way deep into the period piece level of this. Bill Skarsgård is an extremely obvious choice, which I don't think should bother me as much as it kind of is. Like, it's just like, oh, well, yeah, of course this guy's going to play Nosferatu. But also at the same time, he is perfect for it. He's going to do very interesting. I don't know, I feel mean saying this, but I don't know how much makeup he's really going to need because, you have he'll have to probably make his head a lot bigger with the egg head and the long nails and stuff like that. But that face is that's a vampire face he has right there. I feel bad saying that, but also I think that's the reason he was cast.
Bill Skarsgård just racking up the horror IMDb here, the horror credits with Barbarian. He just finished filming the Crow reboot.
Was it you that told me that he doesn't like horror, or was that some other interview I heard that on?
May have been someone else, but that's hilarious.
it's like I'm not really. Oh, it was an interview of the Barbarian director, Zach Kreger. Yeah, Kreger. He said yeah, I cast Bill Skarsgård. He's like, yeah, I don't really like horror that much. And I'm like, dude, really? You're kind of killing it right now.
On that front with Zach Kreger, since we're talking about him, I read this article today. It may have been I think it was on Vulture, and it was about how that script for Barbarian had been turned down for over a year. Nobody wanted anything to do with it. When they were considering it, they were telling him to change things, and the things that they wanted changed were the biggest twists of the movie, the things that made the movie really stick out. And ultimately it ended up being these two young guys that were running some finance group or some production company that were all about it. And they reached out to another well-known individual who was attached to It and all of those films. And he's like, yeah, my company passed on this last year, but I wasn't involved. And then they got the whole team involved, and it was just crazy. Like it's amazing how a hit like that has to overcome so many hurdles and potential death blows in order to be made. But that's also why we have the blacklist, and we see the blacklist films become something to talk about at some point.
It's so funny because I imagine myself as a studio exec reading the script of Barbarian, and I'd be like, pass. I wouldn't take the risk on that. So, good, sucks to be them, but
well, there's certain things that just don't work on paper,
Yeah.
but like when you actually see them, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But I think even Krager was saying, yeah, I have a movie that 50 pages in completely changes direction and has new characters introduced, and you don't see the others. Oh, but then they're back again.
And that's what he wrote Barbarian, not knowing where he was going with it. He thought that Bill Skarsgård was going to be a bad guy. And now we're kind of doing some spoilers on Barbarian. Sorry.
Yeah, well, it's been out 2 weeks. That's the rule, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Speaking of reboots that people love and others that they don't, let's do this one quick. American Pie is being rebooted by Universal 1440 Entertainment. And essentially this is coming from the woman who plays Sarah on Insecure on HBO, Sujata Day. She's behind it, and it is said to be a fresh new take on the sex comedy franchise. What's interesting about this is that American Pie has a shit ton of entries. There are so many direct-to-DVD entries that they've gone different directions with and all of that. So I wonder, I don't know. I'm interested in what this could be, but also not interested enough that I'm putting it on any list of mine right now.
I'm very glad you talked about that potential filmmaker, though, because that does this was at an absolute 0 for interest. That does kick it up to about a 1. Because that's great coming from Issa Rae, the Issa Rae coaching tree, if you will, where it's just okay, I'm very much into this now on just that one situation. I don't know, if you do a long enough reboot, I don't think the dumb American Pie directed DVD sequels, they're barely canon. I feel weird saying canon for an American Pie thing, but they're barely counted. They're barely met. I mean, if you think about it, there's the 3 official one, or no, there's 4 now. There was the American Pie, American Pie 2, American Wedding, and then there was an American Reunion. Yeah. Those are the ones I think those are the ones that I think everybody really those are the official ones. Those got the bigs and stuff. And then the other ones are this is Stifler's brother's cousin's mother. And it's just way, way, way further off. I think that, you put enough distance between them, maybe there could be something decent there, but this seems like a well that's very dry and very tapped out. And it's just something where it's make something new and interesting. But if you can put an interesting spin on it, go for it. I mean, hey, who am I to say that? I just Googled and goggled over Nosferatu. All right, they're remaking Nosferatu for the 800th time. So what am I going to be mad about an American Pie reboot? Yes, but still, I don't know.
Oh my god, yeah. There was one that I'm trying to look up the list of the American Pie movies, and there's not spinoffs, but the straight to DVD ones, because there was one that I really enjoyed.
Bandcamp I liked.
What's that?
There was one called Bandcamp that had a lovely final song that was very nice.
Oh geez.
But
let me see here. I can't remember what it was. But I watched it a lot. I want to say in college, but it probably came out after college. Yeah, I'm not finding it right now.
I keep on looking for it, and honestly, they only have those 4, the 4 truly original. They don't have the other ones.
Straight to DVD. Oh, straight to jail is not what I wanted. Straight to DVD.
I got
what popped up. Okay, hit me.
There's not many actually. So there is. Those are the 4 original. So then there's for the 4 straight DVD are The Naked Mile, Bandcamp.
Oh, that's the one I like.
Bandcamp.
The Naked Mile is the one.
Yeah.
The Naked Mile.
Then Beta House and Book of Love. I just want it to be known that right now I am reading these on a picture of a woman's underpants because that's where they put all of the titles. So just to know where I am right now when I try to do something decent and serious, I'm literally looking at a woman's ass and I'm reading the titles of the American Pie movies off of that. So I'm feeling great.
In 2020, they released Girls Rules.
Oh,
that was the last one. There's more.
Oh, there is. Yeah.
Yeah. Girls Rules from one of the producers of the Addams Family Values or the Addams Family Reunion.
Oh,
Wait,
well.
so he produced Bandcamp. He directed Beethoven's Big Break. Oh, there you go. He directed Blue Crush 2. He directed The Scorpion King 4. This all tracks.
There have not been 4 Scorpion Kings.
There have been 4 Scorpion Kings.
Jesus Christ.
So there's that. Switching gears, we have a lot of Marvel news that's going on and hitting us left and right. Did we talk about Wolverine coming back
It
to
happened
Deadpool
like
last
a
week?
few hours before we went on the air, so we did talk about it. Yes,
We did talk about it, but let's just highlight once again that that's really fucking cool.
Yes.
So booting that and going with less exciting news. So I was really excited for the Blade movie, mainly because I had the opportunity to interview the director who had done Mowgli, Bassam Tariq, and I was really excited for like a fresh take on this and bringing in like an indie director. He has left the film. He's staying on, I believe, as a producer, but they are bringing in the Moon Knight writer to rewrite the entire script. Apparently Marvel's not happy with it. Apparently Mahershala Ali's not happy with it. There's rumors out there that Bassam was actually let go, and that it wasn't like him stepping away for like scheduling and stuff, as was kind of alluded to. But either way, it just kind of sucks for a property that people were pretty excited about.
Yeah, no, this absolutely has me worried. I tried to like think of like positive ways when you sent me this news. I said, "Oh, maybe it's because of this or because of... No, this is basically either the director like, is out because of creative differences, got fired because of creative differences, or it's so bad that he's like, "You know what? I'm going to step back. I'm going to be a producer, so my name is not on this and just like my career is now ruined."
Yeah.
And so in general, there's no good with this. The only good I could imagine is that they get someone in there, they do fix that script. Mahershala Ali, thankfully, like, I don't know, maybe 2-time Oscar nominee Mahershala Ali has some pull. He might, but I think that I got very aggressive to you, and you really didn't deserve that at all.
I'm just sitting here listening.
I got very mad at you. I got very defensive over Mahershala Ali, and you did not do a thing to him. I think he's got some pull, though. So hopefully that means that, in general, something might happen for him. But it's like I get a worse and worse feeling about this every chance. It's like it's not getting better.
Well, it was supposed to start production like today, like this week, next week. So that's not good. And what's fascinating though is just seeing the internet discourse about it. And they're like, Bassam Tariq was fired because the script was bad and there were only 3 fight scenes that weren't that great. And I'm like, well, number one, the script, it wasn't written by Bassam Tariq. The script was original. You know what I mean? Like the script was originally written by, Stacey Osei-Kuffour.
Wow.
Yeah, and she left the project. But now the Moon Knight writer is taking over. And then like if there were only 3 fight scenes like that shit should have been dealt with ahead of time. Like it just seems like there's something crazy going on here. And I don't know if it's necessarily that maybe it wasn't fitting in well with ultimately like what was going on. Maybe the look of it. I mean, we could theorize, but
I will say this also, and this is once again me completely theorizing, but I think a indie filmmaker that cares about his art and a prestige actor who has like 2 Oscars to his name, once again, they're not going to care about that there's 3 fight scenes in it. So I think that like, there's probably stuff, they probably have issues with what's between the fight scenes. And that's what everyone will be fine with. You'll be fine with 3 fight scenes. People that love action movies would be fine with 3 fight scenes if the other stuff in it is good, if the other stuff in it is entertaining. And so I would assume that that's what they took issue with. But once again, completely theorizing.
I know. I'm hoping that we get like, well, we probably will never know. Marvel's kind of locked down when it comes to that shit. But all right, let's jump into some quick hits here. These are stories that probably don't have much to talk about with, but I think are necessary to discuss. We had talked a while back about how Disney was very big on the next Planet of the Apes movie. They really wanted to continue on with building upon what was established with the previous trilogy. And now we have learned that in addition to Owen Teague, Freya Allen, who is in The Witcher, as well as Peter McCone from Orville, Macon or Macone, probably Macon. I usually say the opposite of what it really should be.
Which-
Is going to be they're going to be starring in this film, and it picks up many years after 2017's War of the Planet of the Apes, and it is called Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Wes Ball from the Maze Runner trilogy will direct. So Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, kind of interesting. Doesn't really tell you much, but tells you that apes are probably still running shit.
I love the idea of them keeping in the titles that are the of the and the of the. I think that's lovely. I think that you know,
And of the
of the and the of the. It's like, you know, like the whole time. I remember someone said that when Rise of the Planet of the Apes came out. Someone just commented, "Too much of the." And I was just like, "Oh, I never realized that." And then they just doubled down. They're like, "Dawn of the Planet of the Apes," and then, you know,
Oh my
keep on
God.
going. So I think that's lovely. I like this idea. I don't trust the fact that you have this really great trilogy that like did exceptional throughout, and then crap, it's like, you know, they're bringing in a fourth one without Andy Serkis, you know, a little bit worse. And I'm on board. I'm okay, but I don't know. Part of me just you know, there's a bad feeling in me. But if they have the same people around it or behind it, or at least people that were involved before, like somewhat there, then this could be something good.
I want to know what the story is. Like, give me a little
Yeah.
bit more of what the story is before I make any decisions here. But I will always enjoy a Planet of the Apes film.
I hope to God it's like a bunch of politics, because now, like, essentially, I think like basically all the humans are dead or just like creatures or something like that, because they were all getting the virus that keeps them from speaking. So now it's just like, you know, okay, so now they're putting together their political stuff. This is like this is a Game of Thrones political style talking in rooms. I want that to just troll everybody.
I'm on board with that. I'm also on board with Now You See Me 3 because I did enjoy the Now You See Me movies for what they were. Ruben Fleischer of Venom and Uncharted and Zombieland fame is behind this, which means it's going to be goofy fun. And Seth Grahame-Smith, who wrote Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, is writing the screenplay. I'm on board for this. It sounds like Jesse Eisenberg and Woody Harrelson are coming back for it, even though they haven't officially signed on. But you know, this also had stars Mark Ruffalo, Dave Franco, Michael Caine, and Morgan Freeman in the background as well. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you enjoy the Now You See Me series?
It also had Isla Fisher, who morphed into Lizzie Kaplan for the second one. It's just like, okay, fine. I did not like the first one, and so I never saw the second one. I was also pretty pissed off, and I'm not even doing this for a bit or a joke, but the fact that you call a movie Now You See Me and you don't call the sequel Now You Don't. How, like, it's the first part. Oh, gee, hit the mic. It's the first part of something, and then like you bring the second part in, and now I guess with the third one that's a little bit tricky because I don't know what this one would be called. But
Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Peekaboo.
Sure. People will be like, "Oh, this is the third of these movies." I didn't realize. I don't know. I of course I've seen online 10 million times in the second one, even though I haven't seen the second one, them throwing that card to each other as it's like buzzing past every security guy, which I'm like, wouldn't they see it? I know it's a movie, but wouldn't they see it? And so I don't know. It's fine. Like, first of all, I do love Ruben Fleischer. I do like his stuff is either, you know, good or at the very least fun. And so I'll be happy to like, oh God, that's I have to see the second one. But I don't know. Maybe we'll see how I feel when this one comes out.
The second one did really well. It made like 700 million in the box office. So
Really?
but yeah, it did really well, which is why they're like dipping. There's been rumors that they were dipping back into this well for a while. So we'll see. If they bring back the original people, then I'll definitely be more interested.
It's interesting that it took this long for them to do it then, now that I think about it. But I don't know.
Pandemic.
I guess. Yeah.
There were 3 years between the first and the second, I believe. So
Oh.
let's dive in back into Marvel land here. I'm not pumped about this news. I'll start off before I even tell you what we're talking about. Avengers Secret Wars is coming. We know that we're getting 2 Avengers movies in 2025 within like 2 or like 4 months of each other. And the other one is Kang Dynasty, which is being written by Shang-Chi director Destin Daniel Cretton. I'm sorry, directed by Destin Daniel Cretton. This is news that Michael Waldron, who was a writer on Loki as well as Doctor Strange in a Multiverse of Madness, is going to be writing Avengers Secret Wars. I don't love this because like Loki I liked, but I felt like at the end of the day, with the exception of the last episode, the stakes weren't like insanely high. With what's the other one there? Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I thought that was I thought that was messy as shit. And didn't love that. So an Avengers movie where you're balancing a bunch of different individuals, whoever they may be at that point, and higher stakes leading into another Avengers movie 4 months later. I don't love that idea. I'm not sold on this.
Well, let's be very clear, and I don't actually know this. I'm once again theorizing, but I don't think one guy is writing an Avengers movie. I think 55 guys are writing an Avengers movie, meaning that, like, while Waldron is involved in this and Waldron might be leading the way, there's going to be a lot of hands on the script, which is also terrible, by the way. But right. I don't think it's going to be like one dude holding the glove with the stones on it and stuff. I mean, I'm a little bit more hot on Loki. I absolutely loved Loki. So I was like so excited for Doctor Strange 2 because, the same writer of Loki. And then I saw Doctor Strange 2 and that was terrible. So at this point, I'm like, I'm half and half on this guy. I'm like, oh boy. So, I think that, believe it or not, I think that this will be an easier undertaking of a writing project. Even though it's a larger, I think it's because it's a larger scale movie. Yeah, true. Like, it's a larger scale movie. It's difficult to be a director of this kind of movie. But I think that writing it, obviously you have to have the clever story. You have to handle all the characters. And, I think of Endgame as a very well written movie as well. But I think Doctor Strange had the ability to get lost in itself no matter what. I feel like whatever they were going to try to do with that premise, it was going to be tough to try to get out of that. And I think these are, once again, still difficult to write, still complex stories, but I think it's a little bit more of the action that you can have and a little bit more fun there. So I don't know. I'm back and forth. I'm definitely a little bit more excited because I do think Waldron has done good stuff. I think that Loki is a lot of fun. Although I do think that Loki is a lot of fun because it's, an isolated situation that is goofy as hell, but on its own accord. While, Strange 2 had to bring in a whole bunch of stuff and that got all weird and I don't know.
He also wrote Avengers Quantum Encounter, which I believe is the film for one of the Disney cruise ships. Yep. It accompanies the experience at Disney's new Wish cruise ship. It is set in a universe adjacent to the MCU where the snap never happened. Because we're doing that now. But the other thing that IMDb has him attached to is an unannounced Star Wars Kevin Feige project.
Shut up. I think just everybody that's doing a Marvel movie is attached to a Star Wars movie at this point.
and no Star Wars movies are coming out.
No, it's that is IMDb can be fun like that sometimes, where it's like a guy once said Star Wars and Michael Waldron in the same sentence. Throw it on the IMDb.
Throw it on the...
They don't exactly they're not vetted too well.
Oh my god. The final story sticks with Marvel here, and this is that the series, probably the least exciting series to me, Armor Wars, it was going to be a 6-episode series on Disney Plus starring Don Cheadle, is now being morphed into a movie. Apparently it was too big for Disney Plus, and now they're making it a movie. So Yasir Lester was writing the series. He's going to write the movie now. And it's expected that Don Cheadle returns, but we don't know anything else about it.
I just heard about this. They had it written. They had the 6 episodes written. Like, they were done. They were about to go into production, and they're going to turn it into a fucking movie? Like, hey, we've talked about some of these 6-episode series we have.
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Movies. Falcon and Winter Soldier. I could argue Moon Knight, honestly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I won't argue Loki. Loki is too out there to be a movie, but those other two could probably be movies, and so that's maybe they're hearing our criticism. I know a lot. I know Feige listens to the podcast.
Feige listens
from Marvel.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod, Feige. Make Star Wars, Feige. But I I don't know. This just seems like it's already just kind of crazy. And boy, Don
I'm
Cheadle.
exhausted by it, to be honest.
Yeah, this one is one that like I listened with all of the announcements of stuff where like either I was angry or like excited when it came to like D23 or Comic-Con or whatever this came out from. I was so excited about this. I was angry about this, excited about this. I mean, it went to a heart monitor flatline when I heard about Armor Wars. Truly could not care. The brain waves just completely failed to even ignite.
I'm with you there. All right. We usually wrap up with our rants and raves of the week. I don't know that I really have a rant or rave. My rant will be that the recovery time for this back surgery and leg issue that I've had, they said could be anywhere up to 6 weeks. And I am 3 weeks removed from the surgery and still want to call Eli Roth to saw off my leg and use it for Hostel 3. So that's where I'm at.
Has there not been a Hostel 3?
Nah,
There've been like 25
probably.
saws. There hasn't been let's do it. We're all about accuracy here at Guide the Movies podcast. We have to make
Hostel
sure.
Part 3 came out in 2011. What? Was there Hostel Part 4? Hostel 4. Oh, no, fan made. Okay. They ended with Hostel.
Wait. Has anyone checked on anyone involved in that film? Like, I don't like that. You can make a fan made like Before Sunset. Like that's fine with me. Don't make a fan made Hostel. Holy shit.
That would be wild. That
I
would
am
be
not
wild.
okay with hearing about that. I'm gonna do some research on that and maybe
That'll
not
be our
find
next
out.
podcast. True crime. True
We
crime.
can do like we can bring Sarah Koenig in.
Yeah. Welcome to Hostel Part 4. Real life.
Oh god.
Do you have a rant or rave for us?
You know, I guess my only one is that this is just the season where stuff is coming out. We're about to go over what's coming out. Stuff is coming out in limited theaters, and I'm no longer a limited theater. Thanks a lot, AMC. Like I used to be.
But AMC usually pulls them if they're large enough. Do you have how big are the AMC theaters?
Actually, it's a pretty big AMC theater. Like I should be getting some of these, but
Yeah, you should get some of them.
maybe I will. Maybe they're not just showing. Maybe they're not showing up on the app yet. Maybe they'll show up on the app later. But as of right now, it's like, oh, cool. I guess we'll see Amsterdam. Like,
Which I have zero interest in.
I really have zero. Honestly, this is God's honest truth. I am seriously considering seeing Lyle Crocodile over Amsterdam.
Mhm.
But I don't think I
I'm
can
with
do
you.
that to myself. Like I don't
I would
think
see
I can-
Lyle Crocodile.
I've heard Amsterdam sucks.
Yeah.
Which is
I saw a mini review of it today, and it was like celebrity overkill and all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
But there's that. Here's what's coming out, so you have to plan your weekend unless your wife has already planned it for you. Mr. Harrigan's Phone hits Netflix tomorrow, and the trailer looks horrendous. Lyle Crocodile, starring Shawn Mendes, hits theaters this Friday. Amsterdam hits theaters this Friday. Tar hits limited theaters this Friday. Triangle of Sadness hits limited theaters this Friday. Hellraiser hits Hulu this Friday. Luckiest Girl Alive, starring Mila Kunis, hits Netflix this Friday. And Werewolf by Night hits Disney Plus on Friday. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about Werewolf by Night, but I would just say go check my socials.
This what was I gonna say? Oh, with Mr. Harrigan's Phone, I haven't seen the horrendous trailer you're talking about, but I did see the poster and it's made me laugh.
Oh, I
really
need to look
loud.
this up.
It is
Mr. Harrigan's Phone 2022
it
film.
is him. Wait, we'll describe it in a moment.
What the fuck is that? Are you kidding me?
He's
This looks like
listening to
Ri-
a gravestone.
I swear to God, I didn't know he was attached to this, and I just said I was about to say this looks like a Ryan Murphy shit,
Oh yeah,
and it says at the top from Ryan Murphy.
but it's weird because it's like very like it seems like he's just like this omniscient god above all of it because it's like there's someone else creating it and all that stuff. But what a terrible poster of just a cartoon listening to a gravestone.
What is going on? I don't understand.
Oh, it's I might be checking that out tomorrow during my
Oh
day off.
God. Oh God. Oh my! It'll be like 7 a.m. and it'll be like Sean is watching.
Will it be that or the Monsters?
Oh, is that come out tomorrow on Netflix?
It's out on Netflix now. I almost watched it yesterday and I was like, I don't think I have the strength.
You have a lot of other things you need to watch. Let's push the shitty ones to the side.
Well, yeah, I want to watch Tar, but Blanchett's not coming to Trumbull.
Maybe you can pick up. Maybe you can pick up Dahmer's episode 2 Up that in your rotation.
I got I'm at episode 4 or 5. 4. I finished 4.
Get to 6 because it's gonna fuck with you.
I know. I heard 6 is the big one, so
Oh.
I'm gonna get there.
Sean, we'll talk soon.
See you later.
Let's keep talking because I don't have the button up for the ending. Sean, we'll talk
Sounds
soon.
good.
The Guy at the Movies podcast is a joint venture between Math Teacher Movies and Guy at the Movies. You can catch new episodes weekly right here wherever you're listening to this one. Subscribe so you never miss a beat.